Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, run it back. Run it up, then run it back.
Well, hello. Happy Thursday. I had to think about it, but it is in fact Thursday. This is Run It Back. You are watching Lou Will, and look who's back, Danny Green. Danny Green, is that cool art? What's that artist's name behind you? I love that art.
It's a little Instagram feed page that I saw. Found a cheap little poster to put in the background. I haven't had a chance to build my own studio yet. So yes, just something cheap to make it look decent.
Looks good. It's the like Monopoly guy art thing that I enjoy. Lou, back in the candy room, means that we can officially get this show started. Hey, the third one's starting to dwindle down. Looks like someone's got a favorite.
I hadn't left the house in about 72 hours. It's all me.
That's awesome. We're gonna do like a team dentist appointment when we see each other again. All right, we got some games last night. The Garden last night was popping. Denver Nuggets in town. The Knicks are on a roll, y'all. No big deal. They are 5 straight wins in. They do this one 122-112. Jalen Brunson with 30, 15 assists. OG Anunoby with 23 points. 408 points over their last 3 games, which is their most in a 3-game span in franchise history. They seem to be very healthy, Lou. Let's talk about the offense and where it ranks in the league. Best?
I wouldn't give them the best. I think they're in a great run right now. They're finding a lot of scoring in a lot of different places. Like you just said, OG Anunoby gave them 23 points last night. Cat struggled somewhat from the field, but you got Brunson. This is a New York Knicks team. You know, they're top heavy. They're gonna get a lot of production out of their starting 5. Now, my concerns are when they go to the bench. What are you going to be able to get out of the bench? And so for me, I still feel like the Cleveland Cavaliers are the best offensive team in the league. Even though the Knicks are top 5 in a lot of offensive categories, I still like the Cleveland Cavaliers. Cavaliers went out and got 50 from their bench last night. I think that's what's going to separate them from the New York Knicks as far as offensive efficiency goes. When the Knicks go to their bench, are they going to be able to compete with these other teams? So love the run that they're in. Love what they've been able to do over the past 3 games, putting up 432. That's a great stat to have, but I wouldn't put them at the top of the mountain. But they're playing really good basketball right now.
Yeah, Danny, is it the bench thing? Is that what gives you pause about the Knicks?
No. I mean, we can't forget about the other team in the Northeast over in Boston. They're a very good offensive, explosive team. But the concern for me with the Knicks is their 3-point percentage. And since the new year, they're outside of the top. They don't take or make enough threes. They're just very inconsistent for that. It's hard to be the most explosive offense when you're not making threes like that. As of late, they found some rhythm and they do well. Obviously, the lack of depth, I'm with Lou on that. But most importantly for me, in today's game, you got to make threes. You got to take enough of them. You got to make enough of them. And they don't do that at a high enough clip to be, a better offense. And so for them to be very effective or be in contention, they got to make sure defensively every night they're locked in because they do. I mean, they have threats. They're very top heavy, but there's going to be nights where they're not going to shoot well, which is most likely because their identity is not from the 3-point line. They're going to have to play good defense to give themselves a chance. And that Boston team in the Northeast, we've seen them when they play and they're healthy and they're playing their normal basketball, they're probably the most explosive offensive team we've seen in the league this year.
I think that they're two. Yeah, I think their 2 identities are like that, Danny. Like you just said, they don't make or take enough threes, but they're so efficient in the paint, so efficient inside of the 3-point line. It's almost like a blast from the past, right? Like now teams are playing outside in. New York Knicks are still playing bully ball. They still play in the line. But like Danny just mentioned, for you to compete and to survive in the climate of the NBA today, you got to make and you got to take a lot of 3-point shots to be able to compete. But I like how efficient they are inside the line.
This 3-point thing's funny because we bitch and whine when there are too many threes taken and it's not fun to watch. But then if you don't take enough, we're just like, well, you're not going to get it done. Doesn't change the fact that the games that they've won on this spread, 2 of them are against number 3 and number 4 teams out west, which is pretty notable. And I get it. They're a game behind the Celtics. They're in the 3rd spot in the East. Cavs still sitting on top. Should we take them a little more seriously, though, as a contender, Danny? Why don't we do that?
I mean, I don't think anybody doesn't take them unserious, but 3 or 4 in the West are good teams, but they're not contending teams to me. There's not many contending teams, even though the West is strong. You know, they're good teams, but they're not contending teams. So, so the Knicks just more than likely, I think most people in their minds anyway look at them as a really good team, just top heavy, like Lou said. And the biggest concern is the minutes. You know, if everybody's waiting for that other shoe to drop. You know what I'm saying? So somebody thinks somebody's going to get injured at some point. You know, we're still waiting on Mitchell Robinson to come back, or I don't know if he is back or coming to get back soon. But
I think he's coming back soon. I thought it.
I heard he was jumping and stuff, guys. Jumping and stuff.
Yeah.
As he should be. I mean, hopefully we're halfway through the season. But they have played, I don't know if you have seen that stat where the top 7 3-man lineups are the Knicks. They play a lot of minutes. So a lot of people are waiting to see if one of these guys is going to get run down, if an injury is going to happen. And that's what happened to them last year. It's like, you know, they had a great run. They had a great season. And when it came to Indiana, which they should have been in the Eastern Conference Finals, they had a bunch of injuries. I hope that doesn't happen. None of us want to see that happen. But because they play so many minutes in bulk in the top heavy load of their team, everybody's just waiting for something to happen. Like, you know, we like the Knicks, but we're not sure if they're going to be healthy at the right time.
Such a marathon, Lou. It's such a marathon. I think that is the concern, is watching it all play out last year, and there were such good vibes out here in New York. And then for it to all sort of fizzle with the injuries. But there's nothing you can do about that, right? Like, Tibbs is going to do what Tibbs does.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, like Danny just said, I don't see anybody not taking them serious, right? Like, I think they're a title contending team. They got a lot of different pieces that can give them great production. Now, the only caveat to that is their bench scoring and their bench play. What are you going to be able to get out of the bench? Now, the thing that works in the New York Knicks' favor is once there's playoff basketball, those lineups shorten anyway. But before you get to that, are these guys going to be burnt out? You know, like just mentioned, you got 3 guys in the top 3 that's in minutes played. How is that going to affect you in the long run of this season? Are these guys going to be burnt out? Are you going to start dealing with the knick-knack injuries because of the wear and tear? Is that going to put you in a handicap position going into the playoffs? If they can get there healthy in one piece, this team is for sure going to be a title contender.
So let's get down to the JOKIC of it all. Obviously, you play Denver. That's what we want to talk about as well. 17.6 rebounds, 6 assists, and he was in some foul trouble already in the first quarter. Well, Draymond Green was watching, and he had his social media right there at his fingertips, and here he is. In a full front on Joker, even if you win the game, which they did, it doesn't matter. You will never hold the respect from an opponent to win at the highest level. Pride must make you sit down and guard. Even if you give up 40, winning is a mindset, and in order to win a championship, man, he is not afraid to just have an opinion on everything, Lou. What do you think about that tweet?
You know what? Listen, from his point of view, from his perspective, I understand what he's saying. He's a defensive-minded guy. He goes out there and he plays with a lot of pride and a lot of passion. He takes a lot of these matchups personally, you know, so individually he want to go out there and to be able to conquer that. Cat was out there just trying to do a job, trying to slow some. Listen, if a guy's out there and you see him going to get 30, 20, and 18 on a few nights out of the week and he's coming your way, you're going to do everything you can to stop him or minimize him. And it worked. It worked. Like, this is a bad case right here, Dre, because it worked. Yeah. Now, again, this is a matchup we're only going to see twice a year. Cat wins one of them with this. So is this something that we want to see a steady diet of? Absolutely not. But I'll raise this question to Draymond. What's the difference between this and guys fronting Steph Curry, not allowing Steph Curry to get the basketball?
Denying him, yeah.
Denying him, face guarding him. There is no difference. When you're trying to win a matchup, the pride is out the window. When you're trying to win a matchup, pride is out the window. Now, I understand what you're saying because you take pride in what you do on the defensive end. But hey, for 2 nights out of the year, and I'm trying to stop a guy that's on an absolute tear right now, that's putting up these crazy gaudy numbers, I'm not adding my name to that list. So I'm with you, Draymond, but Cat shouldn't have no shame in how his night went at all.
Yeah, I'm with you. This is we hear what Draymond's trying to say. And we understand, as from a competition standpoint, to compete and from taking on the challenge, we want to see guys take that one-on-one. I'm sure this wasn't Cat's idea. This might have been Tibbs' idea. And, you know, Tibbs is a coach for a good reason. This guy is not no regular player. He is the LeBron of big men, going for one of his 4th MVP, right? He's very good. And it's kind of contradictory in the tweet where it's like, if you want to win championships, you got to do this. But they won the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, he did what he was supposed to do, and they won. This helped him win the game. So ultimately, this formula sounds like it would help him win a championship. So, but you give a lot of, respect to Cat. I mean, I guess putting his pride aside and doing this, because most other players would take on the challenge. I'm sure Tibbs was like, look, we're going to front him. We're going to throw different things at him. We're going to double him. But it said it did work, and said, we understand where Draymond's coming from. I want to say you never get respect, but respect it more when you take on that one-on-one challenge and fight a guy. But either way, they got the job done. Cat got it done, and I'm sure they'll use. Other teams may use this going forward.
Danny, but we've seen what it looks like when guys put their pride, when they use their pride and they guard them, they get torched.
You get 30, 20, and 16. Yeah.
We've seen guys play with pride, and we see the guy that says, you know what, I'm gonna put my pride to the side, and he came away with a win and held Jokic to 17, 6, and 6. I mean, I feel you, Dre, but Cat wins the battle. Now, who wins the war, we don't know, but Cat wins the battle.
Yeah, this feels like a by any means necessary strategy, which ultimately the goal is to win. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't have a problem with it. If you don't love it, I'm fine.
This is a decent game for a normal person, but for Jokic, this is helping Shea, MVP case. So I'm sure other teams are gonna be doing this.
That's why I lose. That's why I lose smiling.
LeBron of big men right now, and people know he's on an unbelievable tear, and he's on his way to his fourth MVP if he keeps going. And he could end up with 5 for all we know, because he's not old.
And Dre, and guess what, Draymond? Be prepared to see more of it from more teams, because everybody's watching, they're scouting, and they see, this is something that we can build on. This is something that we may look into as well.
Steve Kerr might be telling Draymond, listen, this is what you're going to be fronting. We might see Draymond doing in the near future.
Yeah, because everybody doesn't have a Cat either. Some of these guys aren't Cat-like. They don't have Cat's ability. So to see this work for Cat, some other guys that are less talented at that position that has to guard Jokic, they're like, you know what, coach, we might have to take a look at this as well.
It's
the
fine.
Lakers did this. The Lakers did this in the playoffs against them, right? They had Bron guarding Jokic, and he was fronting. They had AD on the backside. So, I mean, I said it's not a tactic that is foreign to the game and to teams that are trying to win.
No. By the way, how many players in the league, Jokic is like the top, do we always ask other players, is he unstoppable? How do you stop him? That's the whole, unless I'm just missing something. It's the whole point, is to figure something out. And if it works, it works. I don't care what it looks like.
Yeah, but because he's so good at doing everything, that's why it's hard to stop him. Him, Luka, like there's only a few guys that are good to help their teammates as well. It's like, all right, we let him beat you one-on-one. He might do that. He'll get 50 if you need to. All right, we're going to double. He's going to pick you apart passing to people too. It's like, all right, we're trying to box him out. He's still going to find a way to tip that ball in and get 16, 20 rebounds.
Boom. Found a way. Who cares? Clippers, Spurs. This was fun for a minute. Kawhi leading his team, 128-116. He had a season-high 27 points. Zubac with 22 rebounds. That's his second 2020 game of the season. I want to say they said it was his third in his career. Wemby with 23 points, 12 rebounds. They're 7-2 now with Kawhi back. And he hasn't actually even played more than 30 minutes yet. So, Lou, we love Kawhi, although Spurs fans were letting him hear it last night again. But
despite you not to boo him, right?
Oh, they were still booing. Still booing.
I didn't know they still cared.
It was kind of amazing. Yeah, they still care. It's one of those things where you're like, it was kind of half, but they were still doing it. Top 10 player. If he sticks around long enough this season, can we throw him back on that list?
Yeah, but like, who cares? He doesn't care, right? Like, can he be a top 10 player? Yeah. If he plays more minutes and that's something that's a goal of his, absolutely. He has the ability to be able to do it from on both ends of the floor. He's a two-way player. That's undeniable. But again, like, he doesn't care. So, why should we care? I think his focus is remaining healthy, giving the Clippers as many positive minutes as he can, play at the best clip that he can play, and give them a chance to win as many games going into the playoffs and staying healthy to compete in the playoffs. I think that's what his focus is. That's what it should be. That's where his focus should remain. Let me just figure this thing out, get my feet back wet. Don't overwhelm myself with tasks. Don't overwhelm myself with titles and all of those things. Let me just stay healthy as I can and give this team an opportunity to win as many games as we can, continue to push and put pressure on the top of the West, and go from there. So can he be a top 10 player? Absolutely. But I don't even think he cares to be ranked anywhere. I think in his mind, he knows where he stands. He knows what he brings to the table, and he's self-assured without the list or without the top 10s.
Yeah, well said, Lou. I'm with you on that. But I think he for sure can. It wasn't, people forget very quickly, but it wasn't too long ago before the injury when he got that extension, what he looked like when he was balling. You know, obviously he's been out for some time, but he's not that much older since then. He's still very efficient. This was a season high in minutes as well. So they're giving him more minutes as you see what he can do with the more minutes. If he stays healthy and he continues, he's an efficient player. And we've seen it up close. Me and Lou, I've played with it and against it. Lou's the same. You see how good he is at getting to his spots, and you're not stopping him from getting there. So it's just really him having an off night. Once he slows the game down and gets back in his rhythm, there's not many people. And defensively, you know, he's very good at getting steals, being active. You know, he does what he does defensively. He's one of the better defensive players in the game too. So as one of the best two-way players the game and the history has seen, I don't think it'd be hard for him to be in the top 10 in the league when he puts his, like, he just stays healthy and puts, you know, his foot down and put his mind to it.
But ultimately, yeah, he doesn't care. There's a moment here, Wemby gets shoved to the ground. Lou, by Zubac. We're going to talk about this. He tries to go after
James
him,
Johnson.
by the way. Okay, so here, that's the question. I believe I'm going to ask, do they need an enforcer? And I believe the answer is yes, Danny. But, like, what do you do here? Who do you bring in? What's realistic?
James Johnson. No, I mean, I don't know if you could find many other black belts out there. James is still on the rough spot because of that. Like, obviously, James, I love James. He's great, and he can still hoop. But I think his main reason there is security and being an enforcer.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, San Antonio, we need to find somebody out there to be the James Johnson for the Spurs because, you know, we need somebody to set a tone. We can't have people. I
said Isaiah Stewart, but he got ejected again last night. Yeah. But Isaiah Stewart would be one.
With the route Isaiah is going, he might be on the trade block at some point. So they could find a way to get him. But yes, you need a force to protect your star players. If you can't have this happening and having him upset and frustrated and possibly, you know, put himself at risk of putting himself out the game. So you need somebody out there to help protect him. I'm down for an enforcer, but this looks like selective outrage to me, right? Like Zubac, like first of all, Zoo is the least threatening person that you could imagine. It looks like Wemby carries himself in the same manner. Zubac looked like he was upset that he didn't get a foul call, so he went down and did that out of frustration. Two of the most nonviolent guys being able to get into it. It's fun to me, but it looks like selective outrage. But I agree with you guys. Have somebody that has thick skin, tough skin, that's willing to go out there and put it on the line to protect the product, to protect the guy that's going to win us a lot of basketball games. They have to have somebody in uniform to do that. But that type of energy comes when you present that type of energy. Right now, Wemby doesn't even present himself that way. Now, the better and better that he gets, the more that he accomplishes, he will be tested in this manner. So they should look into this.
I've seen Zach Collins go after people, but he's not in the games enough or consistently enough. You gotta go get somebody that everybody respects too. It just can't be a guy that thinks he's tough and he's the only person that thinks he's tough. You got to go out and get somebody that's going to stop a lot of these altercations before they even start, just by them looking at you and say, "You got it. We cool." Oh, I'm here for it. I want this more than anything right now. So we'll keep our eye on that one. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, he's back. DeMar DeRozan joins the show. Yeah. Oh,
yeah, D-Mo.
He's so serious.
Run it up, run it back, run it up, run it back.
Compton, streets. It's something about these LA streets. DeMar DeRozan with the slam.
Yeah, he's back. 6-time All-Star. Yeah. Wait, so do you have a Russell Wilson Seattle Seahawks shirt on? Is that what that is? I can't tell.
Yeah, this one.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, DeMar, before we get to basketball. Are we predicting a reunion with Pete Carroll in Las Vegas?
Yeah.
They need
maybe
somebody.
It makes sense. You know, I think it'd be cool to see. I'm for
it. It's time. We need Shador.
It's time, Lou.
We need Shador.
You want Shador?
Man, we good.
We good. You don't want a reunion on that one? Okay, fair enough. Could happen. Back up. All right, so we got to start. So the season, when we talked to you last, the season was a little wonky, started out weird, but luckily we don't have to do that anymore because 11-4 since that 13-19 start. What has been, and the obvious elephant in the room is a new coach, but what has been the biggest turnaround? What feels different to you guys?
It's a little bit of everything. I mean, this was a unique situation for me because my 16 years in the league was my first time dealing with a firing of a coach in the middle of the season and really trying to gauge and understand how that, works in real time, So it was a new situation. I think we just all kind of bonded together as teammates, as a city, all the fans, and we just try to pull our stuff out of the hole that we was in, because everybody wanted it. Every single day we was just coming in frustrated, trying to figure out how can we, figure this thing out, and we just kind of bridged and came together.
Yeah, because that turnaround, it came after Coach Brown's firing and Doug Christie was able to step in as the interim. What have you noticed the difference between their coaching styles and what Doug has brought to the table for you guys since then?
Sometimes change is just good, and I think for us, it was just needed for a new breath of life in a sense, Doug being an ex-player and kind of having that hand-to-hand relationship with everybody. I was with Doug all summer when I signed. Every single day I was with him working out, sitting after workouts, having conversations, picking his mind, picking his brain, and the relationship that I built with him in the summer, he had with every single guy that was already here from working out with him. And, little things like that go a long way of just knowing, what and how to get the best out of each and every player on the team and, kind of give them a sense of freedom. I think that's what that was when Doug got put in that position.
Our sources told us that right before Mike Brown left, that there was a conversation he had with you about coming off the bench. Is that true? Did that actually happen? And if so, what was your reaction?
What was my reaction? And if it's true, that's a good question.
What was my reaction?
If it's true.
I don't know.
Hypothetically speaking.
That's a good. I don't know.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Moving along.
Moving along. We'll go to the next one. Obviously, there's a lot of talk, a lot of smoke around this De'Aaron Fox potentially now being the team is now open to trading him. What you're in the room. Have you talked to him? Like, what's that been like?
Nah, I mean, haven't talked to him. I mean, I was in a Michelin Nest store when I seen it pop up the other day, and even in the next morning, which was yesterday morning, we was at shoot around. Everybody was laughing, having fun. I think for the most part, when you inside, we just treat everybody like a brother. We always been supportive of whatever anybody is going through, teammates, but a lot of times we don't let the business of basketball kind of distract us in a sense. It really haven't been discussed, to be honest with you. I know it could be a headache on them and dealing with something like that. But for me personally, somebody who's been traded, who understand the business of it, it comes with it, especially when contract talks is involved or something isn't signed. You deal with stuff like this. But for the most part, we support our brother. We there for him. We treat it like any other day.
On a lighter note, let's talk about the positives since we're, been in an intense space. All-star reserves are coming out. Get a chance to hype up your teammate. What do you think of De'Aaron being one of those all-star reserves? Should he be? And, where do you put him at, especially like I had him all-NBA before the injuries. I know he had some up and downs. He was out for a little bit. But where do you put him? Do you think he should be on the all-star reserve?
I mean, it was crazy, not just what he's doing and what he's been doing all year. Domas, too. If you look at the things Domas has been doing, it's incredible. I've never played with a big that's as dynamic as him. The way he rebound the ball, I think he leads the lead in three-point percentage. The way he passed the ball, it's incredible. Both those guys are very deserving of being an all-star. I wish our record was a lot better so they could get that, full respect, because in my opinion, I think both of those guys should be in there because what they've been doing all year has been nothing short of amazing, and it's been, slowed down here and there for Foxy, but, he had that run where it was incredible. When he had the 60 60 point to 50. The things he's able to do is incredible. So I think, my opinion, both of them should be in there. But, you know, we all know how the politics of that works, especially when your record don't match.
Yep. And Debo, I want to ask you a real question, a tough question. You chose Sacramento this offseason over the likes of a lot of different teams. If Fox is traded, do you reconsider your future with the organization, or what would you like to see happen for it to be a positive for you to remain there as well?
Yeah, it's tough because, you know, looking at the landscape before I came here, those the guys I talked to was Fox, Domas, and Malik. You know, those are the core guys that, you know, made it easy for me to make my decision to play here, you know, and a key player, you know, juggernaut and Fox, you know, not knowing the future of that, it does make it tougher. You know, I don't have much time left. You know, I'm not trying to play another 5 years, you know, try to maximize the opportunity we have now to play with a great team. You know, you never know when dominoes fall the wrong way, you know, when it comes to organization, it makes it tough, you know. So it's something that, you know, we just got to weigh out and see, and, you know, for the meantime, make the most out of it, you know. So we'll see how it pan out.
This might be a tough one for the fans to hear. This might be kind of a loaded question. You are considered probably one of the most highest profile guy to sign free agency into Sacramento. De'Aaron said that. I'm sure everybody else would consider that as well. Why don't more guys consider Sacramento as a place of destination to sign in free agency?
I don't know. I always looked at that just around the whole league. You know, we always look at the major cities, you know, and sometimes these small market teams, you could go there and create something incredible. You know, I mean, I was part of it. Lou will tell you, you know, no, it was a time where nobody wanted to play in Toronto, you know, and changing that narrative was something that I was all about. So for me, I don't look at like, oh, this is Sacramento, I don't want to go here. I look at it like this is an opportunity to shed light on it and show why it's a place that could win, or that you could go to and change the narrative and not get caught up in, you know, yeah, it's not Miami, yeah, it's not LA or New York or these big markets, but it's something that if you bring your game to and the fans gravitate towards you and you do something special, people will want to play there.
I like hearing that, by the way. You mentioned Sabonis earlier, the fact that he doesn't get nearly enough pub. And I feel, and by the way, I feel like we've asked this exact question in seasons past as well, specifically about Sabonis. I don't know if it's geographic. I don't know. I mean, you guys are in the 10 spot. I don't know what it is, but what do you think it is that makes us sort of just dismiss him in the overall national conversation?
I think one, you don't get a chance when you don't see guys on TV enough or a topic of a discussion enough, you won't know their capabilities, you know, and what they do every single night. You know, you get overlooked, and I think that's what I see with both those guys. You know, they just get overlooked. You know, they don't get talked about. You know, you will see something about another player that on a big market team they could lost or, you know, had 18 points and had a fancy layup, but they're going to show that. But when Domas has, you know, 25 points and 22 rebounds, that's not being talked about enough. So I think that's all it is, just a narrative of both those guys being talked about more in a positive light of their game and what they're capable of doing every single night.
There you have it. And let me ask you a hoop question, though, because obviously you are the undisputed king of the mid-range game.
Yeah. Appreciate. I seen what you said the other day too. Appreciate
you know,
Appreciate
I've been
that.
giving you a hard time about shooting more threes too, because I'm trying to get you shoot threes back in the day. Now, so you letting them things go. But but I want to ask you where the game is going. All of these teams are 3-point crazy, and we saw the shift in the game. You think it's a bad thing or a good thing that we're shooting so many threes? Where do you see we going from here?
I mean, it's so tough, man, because one, there's so many talented guys, but I think everybody has a unique skill that you should be able to maximize. You know, everybody not a Danny Green that could go out there and shoot threes at a high clip like that. You know what I mean?
Appreciate that.
I would never try to emulate what a Danny Green could do it because I can't. You know what I mean? I wish I could, but I can't. So I maximize my ability of what I'm great at and try to fit that around what's asked from. You know, I don't try to get caught up in thinking like I got to go ahead and shoot 15 threes. That's just not my game. So at times I just wish it leveled off more with guys playing more to their strengths and sprinkle in what's asked for when it comes to these threes. You know what I mean? Instead of just coming down, shooting them. Now you don't have a rhythm. Now you just back and forth. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Danny, you can attest to this because my beef with the 3-point craze right now is because guys are open. Analytics are saying, "Yo, we got to take open shots." It's like, no, bro, you're open for a reason. Some of these guys are not supposed to have 4 or 5 3-point attempts in some of these games, and that's where you get these bulky, crazy 3-point numbers on teams because you got guys that's not supposed to be shooting threes, shooting 4 or 5 a game because they're open. That's my biggest beef. Danny, can you speak to that?
Yeah, I mean, I love 3-pointers, right? I'm a 3-point shooter. You know, Lou, you shot him, so you were great at him too. Not just a Danny Green, but a Lou Will who could fill it up from the 3-point line. So for me, is this: you need it in the game, but not only players but teams. If it's not your identity, you do not need to be shooting that many. Now, if they're
1000%.
uncontested, cool. But if you're not a great 3-point shooting team, you do not need to be putting up Boston type numbers and attempts. You know what I'm saying? You need to figure out a way to get to the basket, free throw line, or mid range. So yeah, I'm cool with the threes as long as they're good threes. You know, obviously I played in the Spurs system. It was always touch the paint first, drive, kick, swing, uncontested. We'll live with that. But a lot of these threes within the first 7 seconds of the shot clock, transition for guys that should not be shooting transition threes. And that's where we have the issue. And it looks like pickup and was kind of diluting the game. So yeah, I mean, we got to find a balance. There's ways to do that. I don't know, you know, they came up with the idea of shortening the quarters now. I don't like that. There's ways that
we haven't gotten into that, by the way.
With the G League, right? There's the G is doing some things where I think the only thing that's really slowing the game down is the fouls. You know, guys, I want to take out the foul baiting completely, but also, you know, do the 1 for 2 until the last 2 minutes free throws because people don't want to see a bunch of free throws. There's a couple of things you could change, but ultimately, yes, teams who don't shoot 3 well should not be shooting that many. So, but yeah, I had a question for you, Mar. You played your former team most recently, Chicago Bulls, and you were there for 3 seasons. They gave you a tribute video, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if you watched many other podcasts. PG had an interesting take as of late. He had never gotten a tribute video from Indiana,
which is crazy. I didn't know that.
It is crazy. But when I was thinking about it, I'm thinking about how long ago it was. Were teams even doing it like that back then? I feel like it was more when social media era started getting bigger is when teams started doing it.
It started.
But from the question is how long?
It's always been a thing, though, DG.
For sure, but
everybody, because it feels like everybody gets one now.
Everybody gets one now. It's definitely boosted because of social media and everything like that. How long do you think you need to tenure with a team to get a tribute? Do you need to be the all-star? Do you need to be 3 years?
Yeah, I think it's all about what you do because I ain't gonna lie. I've been honored enough I got a tribute video in San Antonio. I got a tribute video in Chicago. Everywhere. I got one in Toronto.
I'm undefeated in tribute. I got a tribute everywhere I went. So
you did? See, so I think it is what you do in your time there. As you should. And I think it should be what you do. You know what I mean? I think it's a respect thing too. You know what I mean? Because PG should have come on, like that the teams that he was on in Indiana was incredible. The things he did there was incredible. I would have thought he had a tribute video, but I think it's all about what you do in your time there and appreciation that you give to the fans and to the organization for them to recognize that for sure. So it's hard to say how long you should be. I think it's about what you do in your time that's there.
Yeah, I feel like
well, yeah, because now I want to piggyback off this because the Jimmy Butler situation, when he leaves Miami and he goes back to Miami, technically he did some things. But he's also doing things now. So, like, how are they going to handle that? Tribute video or
look, time heals all. Time heals all. You know what I mean? Time heals all.
I'm just curious if, like, David West or Roy Hibbert, one of them got a video tribute. And if one of them have gotten a video tribute, now we gotta look at Indiana out the side eye. Like, what y'all doing?
All right.
That's kind of interesting.
I'm willing to bet Indiana's cooking one up right now. Like, all right, you know, we kind of messed up. It's on PG.
But is it
I mean,
too
but
late?
is it genuine at that point?
It's
You
over
know what I
now,
mean?
man.
My
No, it's not genuine.
like
but I don't think
it's
too
so
late.
much. It's so much time that went by. It's like, is it? You might as well save it to when he retire and do something great for him. Maybe retire. Who knows? You know what I mean? But I think it got to be a genuine thing that's done out of the goodness of you know what I mean? Like you can't do it later down the line because somebody said something about it. So.
Because he said something about, like, the fact that he said something about it, you can't do it now. That's weird, by the way. We've not asked you, we've never asked you about this on this show, but the tying of the shoes. And of course, I've gone down the rabbit hole of looking at all of your shoes online, trying to figure it all out. So you don't tie them. But how does that work?
Like, I just lace them. Like they just look tied.
That's the craziest thing to me. I don't
tie them.
But how does that work? Is there a safety issue? Like, talk to me about how this works physically.
No, so like, Lil will tell you, like, I will play in a new shoe every single game. You know, some guys like breaking in their shoes. I like my shoes feeling like tight, like brand new, so I don't need to tie them. So I always been like, it started from when I was a kid. When I remember I had some Jordan 9s, I think, and they was my school shoes and my basketball shoes, and I never used to want to tie them or crease them up. So I used to like keep them loose and played in them. At least try to keep them fresh as possible. And it's just been a thing for me ever since then.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I used to give him a hard time about it too, because I didn't understand it as well. But Debo, I want to ask you about USC. Obviously you're an alum, but the up and coming Juju Watkins, man. What do you think her impact is going to be? How much pressure is she going to put on all of the Caitlin Clark records? Speak to Juju for us. Man,
that girl is incredible. You know what I mean? Not just as a basketball player, but as a person. She's one of the most wonderful person I ever came across. And the killer instinct and the person she is when you watch her play, it's crazy because she's the sweetest girl you could meet. But when she on that court, she won it. You know, the way she worked, the way she watched the game, pay attention to everything. She want to be something special, and you see it every time she play. And I think she gonna be another generational player that I don't think people, we've seen the Caitlin Clarks, but I think she's going to challenge all those young ladies to another level because she got that dog in her. She's special. She one of a kind. And, I can't wait to see it. I'm glad, to be able to support her, go to USC, her being from Watts back home, watching her grow up from a little girl to where she is now. I'm looking forward to it. She's special.
I know you're still very much in the prime of your career and hooping at a very high level and got some really good years left. And retirement's down the line. But when you retire, you always spoke about retiring as a Toronto Raptor and how that place is special to you. Does that still hold true? Do you still feel that way? And do you still,
for sure,
whatever it takes to be?
I mean, without a doubt, because that place, man, like, it just was 19 being drafted there. I grew with that organization, that fan base. I gave it everything that I had, so emotionally, that connection that I have will never fade, So when you see the stories about guys that, go back, whether if it's football or basketball, whatever sport, that go back at the end of their career and kind of, close that chapter of their playing career, it's only right to even just have that idea of that possibility of allowing that to happen.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it is a special place. I've been there only for a year, and I try to get back as much as I can. And Michelle, I actually tried to get back to San Antonio before it was over for me, but it didn't happen. But,
I'm sorry, Danny.
Yeah, man,
I had nothing to do with that. That was not me.
Oh, good. But yeah, hopefully we get Debo back in the Toronto uniform before it's all said and done.
Yeah, it's all good. DeMar, I wanted to ask you, man. You've been shining the light on mental health and things of that nature. You started your campaign with Dinners with DeMar. You've had great conversations with the likes of D-Wade, Dame, Draymond, Chris Paul. Tell me what you've learned from having those conversations with those different guys and their experience.
The same conversations we used to have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Getting off your chest. Yep. Knowing you're not alone.
You know what I mean? It really stems from that, from being, some of my closest friends. IEU, Lou, like, I just remember a lot of those moments where, you know, we have those intimate settings and, you know, you have those deep conversations and, you know, you can walk away from that feeling like you got so much off your shoulders and a different sense of confidence and approach on how to deal with, you know, life. And I kind of took from a lot of those moments that I used to have and kind of wanted to put it on the forefront so I could learn and also give other people the insight of you know, learning too, because we all go through so much that, you know, being in this position could get looked over because we are in a spotlight, because we make so much money, or because we athletes. And sometimes it's tough on us dealing with friends, family, you know, life just catch up, you know, with us. And for me, to this day, I look forward to those moments because it does so much for me just to give me a different type of insight on how to look myself in the mirror, or it's okay to go through my tough times and struggle and find ways out of that.
I want to ask you about that, DeMar, because I think doing this, what you've been doing is just amazingly valuable. But I also know men in particular are just not inclined to deal with sort of mental health. And I mean, they think, oh, just get over it. Like have you, when you first started doing it, did you get pushback or were people more than eager to do this?
People was more than eager to do it. I think for me, it definitely was tough making yourself vulnerable into the world because, you know, if you know me, like I'm extremely reserved. Like I stay to myself a lot, and sometimes that's not the best way, you know. And I wanted to, you know, make myself vulnerable and kind of, you know, be the forefront of this whole thing to show that, you know, it's okay not to be perfect. It's okay to struggle. It's okay to have bad days. It's okay to break down. It's okay to mentally challenge yourself in a different light and not just be content with just making it through the day. Like even to this day, I still deal with and struggle with so much that I'm trying to maneuver through and figure out. And that's why I love having these conversations to kind of put so much on the forefront to kind of chop away at things that need to be fixed one thing at a time.
No, it's so very important and appreciated. DeMar, love having you on. Good luck the rest of the way.
Whenever y'all need, whenever y'all need me, I will come on.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Keep it going, man.
Yeah, appreciate y'all.
Run it back, yeah. Run it up, run it back.
A little who says no, guys. We're a week away from the trade deadline. So here we go. Potential. Rockets get Jimmy Butler. Miami gets Brooks, Jabari Smith, and Jock Landale. Who says no to this, guys? I'll start with you, Lou.
I say no.
You say no? Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna say Miami definitely saying no. Yeah.
Miami saying no. Okay.
I say no. If you're the Houston Rockets, you're gonna lose some of your toughness that you already have, some of your identity. Like when you think of the Houston Rockets, you're starting to think of the two main guys and your young superstars, but also Dylan Brooks and what he brings to the table. Jabari Smith is another one of those young guys that has a lot of potential that's out with a broken hand or wrist or something of that nature. Why flirt with it when you're already having success? Don't shake the tree. So if I'm the Houston Rockets, I'd for sure say no.
Yeah, I'm thinking Miami says. I'm gonna say Miami says no. Not enough picks. I would want picks in return, and that's not the pieces. Don't to me, if I'm Miami, don't add up to Jimmy Butler. Their price, no matter what Jimmy's antics are, my price is my price. You know, I think they want bigger pieces or big returns. So it's not enough, and Houston, it just doesn't make sense. It said Dylan has done an amazing job being a vet and maturing him and Fred and Ime of keeping that locker room. It said making them mature very quickly.
No, I'm with you. And they got picked, so we'll see what happens there. All right, next one. Julius Randle to the Warriors, just simply for Draymond Green. Okay, Danny, you up first. No,
Minnesota's saying no. I mean, they just got Julius, mind you. He's a younger, better scoring version of Draymond. You know, so why would Draymond's a little older right now? Obviously, they both add toughness to your team. But if I'm Minnesota, I'm not taking that deal. I'm saying no for Minnesota.
But do you think Minnesota is going to be patient? Because obviously the Julius Randle experiment, as of now, it's just been a little rocky.
They'll be more patient to do something better, different than Draymond. Like they'll find a better piece. Draymond is a good piece, but he's not getting any younger. He's older. He has injuries. you know, and time is ticking for him. He sees it as well. You know, he's already said the reason why he's commenting on things and doing more pot. The end is near, and he's getting ready to be in the space we are in right now. So, no.
Okay. All right. Lou, you're up next on the next one.
I'm in agreement, but I'll take a different approach. I'm saying no if I'm Golden State, right? This is a team that's in they are in need of a rebuild or in a rebrand. Do you start with Julius Randle? Like, I liken this to when Kobe was in that position where he said, "Yo, I need more around me." Do you start at Julius Randle? I think it's some other guys that can go out there that can reach that identity that they have. They're going to be a 3-point shooting team. They're going to run and gun, but all of that is going to be ran through Stephen Curry. And if you can't find the guys that's going to level up with Steph, play that style of basketball, I don't see this happening. Draymond is basically the quarterback on the offensive end. He's the quarterback on the defensive end. I'll take an aging Draymond Green if I can't find somebody that's going to wear that hat. So if I'm Golden State, I say no. Danny says no. If you're Minnesota, I agree both ways. No.
Oh, saying no across the board. Okay, this next one's good, Lou. Big names. Durant goes to Cleveland, and Phoenix gets Jared Allen, Karis LeVert, Okoro, and picks. Lou, who says no?
Who says no?
Cleveland.
I was about to say maybe Cleveland says no.
Okay,
yeah, maybe Cleveland says no. Again, when you're so successful and you have an opportunity to go get a Kevin Durant-like player, you gotta entertain that conversation. But I'm also number one, and I'm also playing well, and I feel really good about the chemistry and the cohesiveness that we have
and
already.
My future, KD.
And we love Jared Allen.
And I'm giving away some of my future for
my future
right
picks
now.
And my younger pieces. KD has given me a healthy 2 years, but outside of that, it's like, you know, you traded away a lot for.
Yeah, this is a right now thing. Like this is a 2-year window thing. So no.
Yeah,
Who's next?
No. I think we all say no, and it's really sentimental. Okay, we gotta take a break now. Taking a quick one. We're up against it, and when we come back, a little more run it back. Danny, we can do more tomorrow. It's good.
I'm all for it.
That is right. We've got a little prop party action for Cavs Hawks. Lou, you want to kick things off?
Yeah, I like the Atlanta Hawks money line tonight. They beat them twice already. Why not another time?
True.
DeAndre Hunter in points. That's where I'm going. Okay,
and Cavs are on a back-to-back. So, Danny?
No Jalen Johnson. I got Trey over points and assists. Over 23.5 points, 10.5 assists. So, I mean, even though they beat him early on, they're not beating him this time without Jalen Johnson. But Trey's got to pass more and score more without him on the floor.
Because I got Cavs, and I got Trey as well. Okay, we're just going to dance it out. We'll be back tomorrow. Ooh, tomorrow's Friday.